Coming up on this episode of Free Lunch.
He's willing to give it to you. Oh, you got room for more? Oh, you got room for seconds? Oh, you got more? There's so much more of me. That's what I feel like in my spirit. God is saying, like, there's so much more. Like, you just scratching the surface. There's so much more of me, but you have to make room for me.
Oh, yeah, you're not good at it. I'm sorry. I'm going to stop taking jabs.
Oh, I love it.
I'm going to stop taking jabs.
I love the smoke.
My bad.
I love the smoke.
My bad.
It's like I was a firefighter in my other life. I love the smoke. We only become blindsided from day to day because we don't know what tomorrow holds. But the one who holds tomorrow, he's not ever blindsided. You will never come to discover the way God might be trying to speak or reach out to you if you're not looking for God to reach out to you.
I'm going through this, but like God's still good. I'm going through that, but you know, God still got me. I may not have it all in my pockets, but he gonna provide for me.
It's gonna show up, yeah. What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Freestyle Gospel, aka The Real Free, with another episode of Free Lunch. And I have, remember last time I had that guy in here from my daughter's bus stop who like I really, I just saw him every day, but really didn't know him. So I have like another one of those like kind of guys in here. Matter of fact, I even asked this guy what his name was, and like we exchanged numbers. And he told me his name is Q. Like who does that? First of all, so I don't even know this guy's real name. First of all, anyways, how I came across this dude, really cool dude. Otherwise, for all intents and purposes, with me not knowing much about him, but he is my neighbor. He lives on the floor above me. He's a fairly decent neighbor. Like, I'm gonna try to give you guys a little like loose backdrop on this guy. All right, he's a freaking he's one of those young guys. I want to repaint this picture. He's a young guy. All right. He's a young guy. He's kind of muscular. All right, he's kind of got that. Maybe I might have played a sport in college. Look, he's like 6 foot something, full beard. You guys know if you've been watching me, like, I kind of struggle with my beard, so I kind of turn an eye when he walks by. Yeah. But really handsome fella, nice, polite, really respectful every time, we cross paths. But I recently invited him to come to the studio, and I'm like, hey, man, what are you doing? You should come check out the studio. And he was down.
And by recently, he means like 3 months ago.
You know what? Gotta love it. You gotta love the young people. You gotta love these young people. You blame it on their youth. In any event, without any further ado, welcome my neighbor, Q. Let's give it up for Q.
Thank you. I appreciate you inviting me on.
Is that what you're gonna give the people, Q? Is that the name that you want the people to know you by? If that's good, that's totally fine.
It's your boy Q.
It's your boy Q. That's
if you
totally
want to call
fine.
me Marquell, you
Marquell. Is that where the Q comes from?
Yes, the middle of my name.
So I envision in this name written on paper, is that Q like a capital Q in the middle of a name?
I wish. It's not though.
Okay.
It's not. The reason why I go by Q is because people can't say Marquell.
You know people like that.
Oh, I know everybody like that.
I hope none of them call you friend.
Well,
Marquell. I don't really see how that's difficult.
You'd be surprised.
It should be definitely a prerequisite to be able to say your name in order to be your friend.
Oh, absolutely 100%.
I hope none of your friends are one of those people that can't pronounce your name.
I don't let them.
Okay.
Friends don't get a pass. Like random people, they be like, oh, Marquell. I'm like, whatever.
Okay.
If you're my friend and you call me Marquell, I'm going to sit there and look at you with the face like you just called me Marquell.
You're dismissed.
It's not going to happen.
You may leave now.
It is not going to happen.
You may leave the cookout.
Yeah,
I'll take that hot dog out of your hand.
Exactly. Actually, you can leave, come back in, and then pronounce my name correctly.
Cool. So how long have you actually lived above me? Because that was the other thing too, by the way, is like before we actually ever even said a word to each other, he actually I think lived above me for like 2 years first.
That sounds about right. You met my roommate. You
Yes,
guys talked a lot more.
I definitely met the roommate first. So how long in total have you
I think it's 3 years now. Almost 3 years this coming.
Okay.
Or
because we just hit 5 years.
It may be 4. It may be 4 this coming August.
Okay.
I'm unsure. It's a blur.
So we definitely just hit 5 years. Decent enough place. You know, we live in New Haven, big Yale territory. You know, has that Yale Gothic decor going on.
Yeah.
Brick thing going. Okay.
So it's cool.
So, Marquel, what brings you to this area? Are you from New Haven?
Originally, yes.
Oh, really?
I'm from New Haven.
Okay.
I was born
I don't know if you told me that before. What area, neighborhood, like?
Majority of my life, I lived in New Holville.
I think you did tell me that. Yes.
Yeah. Majority of my life, I've lived there. You know how it is.
Yes, I do.
And the reason why you probably like didn't cross paths is because I'm to myself, just like I was when I was in New Holville.
Well, I think more accurately why we didn't cross paths is because I'm like a decade older than you. Yeah.
So how old are you again? For your guess.
I'll be 40 next year.
Oh, yeah, you got me by a decade.
Yeah. I know the beard doesn't explain it. I'm still struggling to get the patches filled in, but
I can give you some tips if you need some help.
Can you really? You know, I have 2 recent beard oils I've purchased. I'm starting to think for some individuals, it's not the oil. You can't find enough oil to work.
It ain't the oil.
It's not.
It ain't the oil.
And in the event, so you're from the neighborhood. Do you happen to, all my other guests that I've brought in happen to be creatives of some kind? Do you exist in the creative space in any like facet outside of like your normal 9-to-5 job? Like, are you an artist? Do you play music, rap, sing?
Sing, piano.
I knew you were gonna say sing.
How did you know?
It's because it's the height and the beard. It's the stigma. Like these freaking athletic looking types who comb their beards out every day and try to smooth.
You don't comb your beard out every day?
I sometimes use a brush. And besides, the patches on the side.
That's probably why your beard don't grow, because you use a brush, man.
Only sometimes. But anyways, digressing. See, he made me forget my train of thought.
You were saying you figured I was a singer.
Yes. Okay. All right. Do you have like a singer stage name other than Q?
No. I don't have like a artistry. I don't have a. Okay. I just like playing the piano.
It's like a hobby. Yeah. It's like I just enjoy doing this. Everything doesn't have to be like quantified into like a thing, like
No, I absolutely love singing and playing the piano though. Like I love doing it, but I haven't done it on a creative level in a long time. I got some songs out there though.
You know what? I'm kind of the same when it comes to basketball.
Oh yeah, you're not good at it. I'm sorry. I'm gonna stop taking jabs.
Oh, I love it.
I'm gonna stop taking jabs.
I love the smoke.
My bad.
I love the smoke. It's like I was a firefighter in my other life. I love the smoke. No, but I mean, like, growing up, I like in the pouring torrential downpour rain, I was like the kid still dribbling up and down the court.
Oh, really?
Like I love like that. But it was always this weird thing that like people couldn't get, that I didn't enjoy watching it. Like, so people would, like, friends of mine growing up, they would say how much, like, I love playing. And then they'll be like, hey, so did you watch the game with me? And I'm like, no.
You just like watch. You just like.
I hate watching. And to me, it didn't make sense. Like, I'd rather be playing. So, fast forward, I go off to UConn my freshman year, college, right out of high school. And I get a chance to, like, play with Emeka Okafor.
Okay.
Right?
That's the year they went undefeated.
But I also spent that first year at UConn, like actually like living for the first time ever. So I like hardly ever went to class.
Freshman year, of course.
All I did was play basketball. So first semester, I get put on academic probation, right? Mm-hmm. Second semester doesn't get any better, and I get booted out. So in another life, maybe I turn out to be some 5'9" superstar.
You could have been Kemba Walker.
Whoever that is. Again, because I don't watch.
He played for UConn.
Yeah. So, I love this sport. You love to play. Now, your roommate also is a creative as well.
Yes.
Is he a singer?
Yes.
He sings.
Yes. You don't hear him?
No, I do, but I don't know who that is.
It'd be both of us. It'd be both of us.
Okay. So you guys, that was my next question. You guys duet. You do duos or like?
It happens. We don't duets. Like he'll start singing a song like randomly in the kitchen or something. I like the song and I'll start singing.
So he's not. You guys are not recording when I'm hearing you up there singing.
He will record sometimes.
Okay. So he actually
He does this.
Does this like to record, or he puts it out there, or whatever.
Yeah, he got a couple. He got an album out right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, that's why I got to get him on here. You make sure you tell him I take care of drinks.
Yeah, I got you.
Tell him I took care of you. Okay, like hey. So that's really cool. I won't even engage in any more discovery of him and what he does. We'll leave that for the next episode. The listeners.
Cool.
Awesome, Q. So today, like I told you before we went on air, usually I'm having something that either is on my mind that I'm dealing with from week to week, and what I like to bring on to the show, and have someone that I think could add to the conversation to talk about that thing. So my first anecdotal story of this week is from Valentine's Day, actually.
All right.
So I am in the grocery store, and I am trying to, with me, I don't like to, because I'm the kind of guy that throughout the year, I already kind of do the flowers and,
you don't like Valentine's Day.
Edible arrangements, things. Yeah. Well, I'm indifferent. It's not that I don't like it. It's just the drive or motivation to do something really, really quote unquote special on that day isn't there, because whatever everyone else is deeming special,
you already do.
Yeah, I do. It's not special for that day. Right. So for me, when it does come, my mind switches to think of what can I do that's unlike what the norm is already, unlike flowers and, dinner and, like that, so I'm at, so I don't cook in my house. I don't do any of the cooking.
All right.
Okay. My wife, she's a great cook. Shout out to the wife.
Shout outs.
She handles all that.
Can I get a plate?
With excellence and joy. She enjoys it. You can get a plate when there's leftovers. I'll be sure to keep that in mind. And there frequently is, because for some reason, these kids, these generations we're raising, they don't eat leftovers.
And y'all spoil them.
And I can only eat so much. No, my wife spoils them, because she'll just cook again. And I'm like, why are you cooking again? There's food in the fridge. Oh, but they might not eat that. Well, then they might just be hungry then.
Yeah.
And maybe when they're hungry, they'll actually eat the leftovers. Anyways, so I don't cook in our house. So for this Valentine's Day, I decided I'm going to cook. I'm going to give it a try. Okay. And you know what? Before you even have any slick comment or thoughts, let me fast forward to the end of that and tell you that the wife thought it was amazing.
All right.
Excellent meal. I did a great job. I consulted my Facebook audience for only like one question that I had. Shout out to everyone on Facebook, on the Real Frii Facebook page that helped me out, because the directions I was trying to make jambalaya rice, and I had to put like a teaspoon of olive oil, and I didn't have a teaspoon. And because I really don't navigate the kitchen,
you got neighbors upstairs, right?
Yeah, but like it's Valentine's Day, and I'm thinking in my head like young guys.
It's Monday.
Handsome kid, these guys. I'm sure they got the guys. They're busy with the ladies, but anyways,
we was eating leftovers.
Wow, that's crazy. Anyways, so I'm at the grocery store, and I'm looking for these ingredients that I need for the meal I'm gonna make. So I get to the checkout line, and there's what seems to be like a really young, two guys, some students of some kind in front of me, and in front of them is an older black lady, and something seems to be holding up the line. And I hear the cashier, who's like a middle-aged white guy, he says something to the lady to the effect of, it's not going through, like something with her transaction. And I excuse myself, because I'm behind the two college kids. I excuse myself to reach in front of them and signal to the cashier. I was like, hey, don't worry about it. I'll pay for it. I don't really know when I say this, so what the total of her transaction is.
I was like, what is the total? Like,
yeah, so I realized that I didn't ask that after I already said I'll pay for it. So immediately after saying that, I then follow up with, how much is it? Mm-hmm. And so it was like $96 and change or something. Right. Okay. So I'm like, yeah, I'll pay for it. So he must have called a supervisor to come over though before I said that, to see if he could maybe he like was like a cashier in training. So he was trying to see if someone could come over to help him, show him how he could hold the transaction in the computer while the lady left all her things there, went home and came back or something.
Right.
Okay. So the manager comes over, and this is after, of course, I've already been like, I'm going to take care of it. And so the cashier's trying to tell the manager, this guy says he's going to pay for it. And he's like, are you sure? You're really going to pay for it? And I'm like, yeah, I'm really going to pay for it. It's fine. So, manager goes away. And long story short, pay for it. The lady's like super, super grateful. She's like, thank you so much. She leaves. And that's that. Like I other than you're welcome, I don't think I said anything else to the lady. But what really took me back, and what I thought to talk about and share a little bit about today, was, so now the two college kids get checked out, and now it's me. I'm ringing up my stuff, and while I'm ringing up my things, at least 3 times during the course of a $60 transaction of mine. So I only have about $60 worth of items, very small. 3 times in that short span, the transaction maybe was 3 minutes in total. He felt the need to keep repeating this. I could never. Oh my God, I could never. That's amazing. Wow. And then he'd ring up some more things, and he proceeded to say it 2 more times.
I could never.
And I left feeling really bothered by that. And in my head, I didn't say it to him, but while I'm taking the things as he's clearing it across and I'm putting it in a bag, and he keeps echoing this like a freaking nails on a chalkboard. In my head, all I could keep thinking as a rebuttal, but just couldn't bring myself to say it because I think I was worried about getting into a back and forth explanation with what I felt was an idiotic statement to begin with. But in my head, I'm going, you could never, but I bet you could if you found yourself in that position before. That's what kept echoing in my mind. Is how many times we actually may come face to face with something that we say on the outside looking in, I could never do, whatever that is. It doesn't have to be about money or doing anything, but not really knowing what you could bring yourself to do, or what God, for that matter, could do through you if you've experienced the other side of whatever that thing is you're observing from the outside. Have you had an experience like that where you were either audience to that happening to someone else, or been challenged for you to be the person in the midst of that? And I don't mean like that literal situation, like I paid for somebody's stuff at the thing, but even if it's, how many times do we drive down the road and we see somebody like on the side broke down, or trying to push through the snow and get their car unstuck, things like that. Like, have you been challenged like that before with any of those kind of scenarios?
Yes, I can say that I have, probably a few times. And I don't think I had the same reaction as the cashier, or the cashier did. But when I'm presented with the opportunity to help somebody and I can, I won't say I will, not 100% of the time.
The times you have though, are those times where you're able to empathize with the other individual because you've experienced it yourself? Whatever the thing is?
Yes and no. So I've experienced it myself, and I haven't experienced it. So I always think about, I don't know what it's like to be out here on the streets. I don't know what it's like to be out here cold. I don't know what it's like to X, Y, and Z. I always try to look at it from that perspective. Of course, I'm always cautious. Like if I'm always in a rush. So like if I see somebody on the side of the road, I'm not gonna stop. It's
a lot more mitigating circumstances happening around, and just in the neighborhood that we grew up in, you have to be cautious at these things as well. So it's like, a lot more is going into it, but it's not beneath you.
No, not at all.
It's not like there's like a block there, if that opportunity presents itself, which is amazing. And I really I did my best to not jump to like the conclusion that maybe the thing with this guy, the cashier, had something to do with the race, right? Mm-hmm. I didn't want to do that.
Mm-hmm. Now, was he black or?
No, it was a white cashier, like middle-aged guy. Okay.
He said he could never?
Yeah, he kept saying, and I think it was maybe just his word choice. Mm-hmm. Like, I could never. Like, if he just left it at, wow, that was amazing, or, I don't know, maybe if he even said, that would be tough for me. Mm-hmm. Right? At least that would leave a glimpse of hope, though, right?
Yeah.
But to like keep repeating, I could never, maybe wanted me, maybe kind of scratch the idea that this maybe had to do with like race. Like, would he be saying he could never if this was some old white lady?
Now, how old are we talking?
Who?
The cashier.
The cashier?
Yeah. How would you
guess? Maybe 45.
So, I think about it like this. And this is how, not that this is what it is, but this is how I just start asking myself questions. And then I go, maybe he says he could never because he ain't got it like that.
But interestingly enough, and that's very true, probably, but I didn't either. In fact, I had to use my credit card to pay for her things.
Right.
But for me, I always, because those scenarios don't happen to me frequently, when they do, I sort of take them, as God giving me an opportunity to grow in some area. Now, in currently what I'm faced with in my life, and those, following me have, heard, my story of, over the last few months, gone through surgery, taking the leap of faith, being a creative full time, trusting God with my finances has been like this season in my life's test. Mm-hmm. And because I know that in the background, right, people who are just passing me, seeing me day to day, they might not know all those things, but I'm aware of them. Mm-hmm. And then when I see this opportunity or this thing, like situation like this that don't happen to me often, I take them as a sign. This is God almost like daring me to abandon this poverty mentality, this fear always like looming just afar of there'll never be enough.
Right.
Rather than having and walking in like a faith that says like, no, like I'm a money magnet, doors are opening for me. Opportunity is always in abundance. Like having a more higher mindset like that.
Right.
Right. So it's like, it's this opportunity to grow. Mm-hmm. And so when I see it, for me, my kind of like my second signal, right, how I I guess how you could say, how do I qualify the depth of this thing I'm calling a sign, right? Mm-hmm. Is that's the first step, right? This thing that the situation occurs that doesn't necessarily occur all the time. And then the second thing is, what am I feeling inside internally, like emotionally? What's happening? And when I feel anytime like this, like stomach, like gut wrenching feeling, like of anxiety and fear and mix, that's like my other cue, like, all right, this is God testing me, pulling me, right? Like, because for all intents and purposes, right? Why in that moment should you be experiencing the same nonverbal, biophysical, reactions that you would experience if you were walking in a dark alley or, experiencing heightened, fear or, being on like a roller coaster? Like, what would explain that? Like, you're standing in line at a grocery store, for Christ's sake. Why are you physically experiencing the same emotions right now in this moment while this thought is running through your head? Pay for the lady's groceries. You see what I mean? Yeah. It doesn't, when you objectively look at it, it makes no sense. What is there to be afraid of?
Running out of money.
No. I'm saying, what is there to be afraid of when you're still considering the thought without you even doing it? What is there to be afraid of? It's not like the thought is like this outwardly perceivable thing to everyone else in the grocery store, right? Like, so I could keep the thought to myself.
Right.
Never utter the words, never, offer to pay anything, and the thought could just come and go and die with me. I'd be the only one who knew, right?
Right.
Why the fear from saying no? Saying like, no, I won't take this opportunity. I won't do this. Why that fear? Emotional response. That's what I'm saying. So for me, that becomes my cue. All right, God is offering me an opportunity to grow me here. This is why I'm feeling this gut-wrenching thing, this anxiety, this fear, this blend of just saying no and walking away, minding my business.
So how do you tie the two? How do you connect the two? How do you tie the feeling to God?
Because it's so out of pocket in place. Like I'm one of those people, and if you, depending on whatever your faith system of belief is, right? I'm one of those individuals who believe that's how God communicates with not just me, but with all of us, right? Is that we're not going to have someone come from the cloud and sky and like touch down instead.
Unfortunately.
Okay, right? And so it becomes like this thing of how then in tune can we be to all the various ways in which that God would seek to then encounter or interact with us. Okay. So now I go to look for things that it's kind of like when people see, they look at a clock on the wall or a digital clock, right? And, the time says 4:44 in the afternoon and they go, oh, 4:44, that's a sign, or for whatever they say, right? Why? Is because what are the odds and how often do you look at the clock and all three digits say the same number? That's not often, right? Now, I'm not a person who particularly uses that amongst one of my qualifying, steps of, feeling like, am I hearing from God? But I know other people do.
Right.
So based on the same principle of why they use the clock, I'm using the same things that don't occur often. It's not often that I get the thought when standing. Think of how many times I must week to week. I mean, I'm married with 4 kids and counting. My wife's 4 months pregnant, right? You can imagine I spend a lot of time at stores and lines, and that thought doesn't often cross my mind. So when it does, that's step 1. But I have these qualifying steps, right? Just that thought alone doesn't make me go, this must be God.
Right.
I'd probably be broke a lot, right?
You might be.
Okay, but then when following this thought, entertaining the idea to just put the thought away and just mind my business and keep going, so ignore the thought. When I think that, and then suddenly am filled and fluttered with these emotions and feelings of anxiety or fear start to come, that's now my defining moment there to go, what reason do I have to be experiencing all of this emotionally, with just like I've done a million other times standing in line, to just continue to mind my business, let the lady get cleared out of the way by manager or somebody else, step aside please, and finish my transaction. That's what I'm doing. I mean, what is it for you? I mean, are you moved by the digital clock thing? Like if you see things like that, like do you take those things as signs?
I'll tell you one thing. I've seen my birthday, like I'll look at my phone and more often than not, I'll see like my birthday on the phone. So like if I look at my phone, it'll be 8:26.
Oh, okay.
So that happens often. I don't think it's a sign, but I'm like,
I imagine you don't, because it happens often.
But it happens all the time. I'm like, why do I always look at my phone at 8:26? I think it's an internal clock. I think it's an internal clock that I have, and it just goes off all the time. But I don't know. I look for signs, but it's how do you read it? How do you know what's a sign? How do you know what is versus what isn't?
Well, that's what I'm posing to you. Do you feel that God communicates to you through signs? Personally? I mean, some people might not. So I have to kind of start with that first. That might not even be a thing for you on the day-to-day.
Yeah. If he does, I don't see it. Not yet.
That's anyways. Fair. That's totally fair.
But like, I don't know. You gotta figure out a way to like.
But I would challenge you to walk away from this episode, this podcast, to dare to believe that God is trying to communicate with you somehow. And it's up to us, I think, to discover what that unique way is. Sometimes it's very unique. Sometimes it's not so much unique. It's probably very much like someone else that you might know. But which is why I don't ever like come in contact with people and say, hey, if this happens to you, that's God talking to you. I hate when people do that, right? Because that might be how God is talking to you. Mm-hmm. That doesn't mean that's how he's talking to me right now, right? So I'm very careful about that. But I will say, we typically only discover, I'm using that word intentionally, we typically only discover things we're looking for. Now, I know when you take that at face value, that makes common sense. You're like, no, duh, right? Yeah. Okay, but in something so common, so simple in wisdom, right? Like this is like on the bottom rung in the like spectrum of wise sayings. Mm-hmm. And something so simplistic is a wealth of wisdom. Is you will never come to discover the way God might be trying to speak or reach out to you if you're not looking for God to reach out to you. And that's for many people, I think their issue is they can say or reflect kind of like how you just did. You know, I don't know. I don't know if God ever reached out. And they can have that response, not saying this is your reason, but because there's a part of their brain that doesn't feel that God is trying either. Mm. And if I don't feel that God is trying to communicate to me, why would I be looking for how he's communicating to me? And if I'm not looking, I'll never discover.
So seek with all your heart.
Look at this guy. This guy.
He says seek with all your heart.
Seeking your find.
How much energy you got put into it though?
You know what? I don't even think it's a matter of how much energy I think in my mind at least, I believe God is so, I know this can, for all my holy rollers out there, this could, rub you the wrong way. But for lack of a better term, I think God is so anxious to communicate and reach out to us that with one step from us, he's ready to take like 10 towards you. Mm. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So I think it's really lopsided when it comes to like effort. Like, so when you go, how much energy do I got to put? Mm-hmm. I'd say you'd at least have to put some, but it's not nearly as much energy as God is putting and willing to put into reaching out to you. Mm. But it's like kind of like that gentleman. I always, I talk to my kids like this and, present God as like this gentleman in their lives, right? Like God is not going to just like bum rush your life, take over everything, like right? Like it's, kind of like he knocks gently at the door, waiting for the invitation, right? But the cool thing is, if you spend months, years of your life never opening the door, at least up until the day you die, he's so patient. He'll still be standing on the other side of the door. That's wild. And so that's like really, really cool to me. And I think when you think of things like that, I think it gives you what you would call the need of more energy to keep looking for. It naturally just gives you the energy or the capacity to discover God more for yourself or whatever it is. And then you lose track of time with it at that point. Like, you don't even realize how much energy or posing the question is not even a thing. You don't even care. It's like, because the more you're spending just a little time looking, discovering, he's just so anxious to keep coming closer to you more and more. It's like really, really, really dope. But yeah, I mean, I would challenge, people, anybody, like you guys listening, if you're not even presented the opportunity, but if you see or encounter these things, like from afar, you're seeing these scenarios happen to people as you're onlooking, never say what you never would do, especially if it's something that's positive, a good thing, right? And I hope that we don't ever look at those things from a place of what we currently have. Like I'd never do that because my bank account is overdraft right now. Heck no, I'd never do that. Like, no, don't perpetuate that reality in your life by speaking those words. Right. Right. Like, no, if you have a heart for that, like if you, if you do it, if you had $1 million in your bank account, well, be daring enough to believe you do it present day.
They say, if you wouldn't do it when you don't have it, you ain't gonna do it when you do have it.
Wow. Yeah. I forgot about that.
They do say that.
That's
I actually started saying that to myself recently. Like if I don't do it when I don't have it, when it's not in you. It's not in me to do it. Like
Yo, I heard somebody actually say, it reminds me of this other like statement. I don't know if it means the same thing. I don't think so, but someone said money doesn't change you. It actually just reveals who you really are.
Yeah.
That's crazy to me, like when I first heard that.
Yeah, that's wild. It's a wild concept to think about.
But when I think about it, like my wife and I, like whether it's me coming home with the story, mind you, shout out to the wife, babe, I love you. We usually like exchange these stories with each other when we like go out separate from each other and then come home, right? So I've yet to even tell her about this story.
That's fire.
Yeah, so she doesn't know I spent $96 on my credit card for somebody else.
She gonna find out on this pod.
But the way, thank God that the wife he's blessed me with, we both are like that.
Right.
So she'd come home, and tell me like, babe, so and so, I saw on Facebook, live selling jewelry or whatever. I just, purchased such and such, to bless her or be a blessing or help her small business or whatever. And I in my mind, I might know consciously like we only have this much money in the bank, like that's crazy, right? But then like the part of who I really believe like God's made me to be in the spirit He's given my wife, like just the more and more year after year, I just get like so accustomed or used to like all my needs get met anyways. And I think part of why that happens, why all the needs get met, is because I'm like that, and because my wife is like that. Like it's like we've blessed so many people, or bought things to support people, and not even have it, and people and they would never even know.
You gotta have a certain level of faith, honestly, to like just really to know that God got you regardless of whatever it is that you're going through.
That part.
Because like I think I'm in a season right now, which is very odd, where I'm just like increasing my faith that no matter like whatever it is that I may be going through, it's just kind of like I'm going through this, but like God's still good. I'm going through that, but God still got me. I may not have it all in my pockets, but He gonna provide for me.
It's gonna show up, And
it's like you stop worrying and you start believing. It says something along the lines of you can't be double-minded.
Yes.
You can't ask and not believe that you're going to receive. Yes. You have to ask and believe that you will receive.
Those are the seeds. Like you're planting the seeds in my mind when you could like trust to that degree that it's like tomorrow's going to be taken care of, even though like I might only have this little bit. Tomorrow's going to be taken care of, so I don't have to be afraid of letting this little bit go.
Right.
And that's another word from scripture, like, don't worry about tomorrow. There's enough in today to worry about, right? So by me not even worrying about tomorrow, let me just focus on today. Like this exchange at the cash register, like I didn't even get that lady's name. Like I told you, I didn't even say hello. I was trying to keep the conversation if the lady would have allowed me to just be between me and the cashier. And when I feel like I told you the 2 steps qualifier I do, when I feel that, I intentionally try to make it about just me, God, and whoever the cashier is, and take me out of it by having any exchange or at length with the person, so that they don't get confused and see me in this encounter.
Right.
Because this experience is doing something for me, but it's also God, I think, wants to do something with encouraging that other person too.
Right.
And if I do too much dialoguing or getting in the way, it puts me in the place of God, and I don't want that. I want to be as the most like unapproachable standout. Like I want to pay you zero mind, because this is not about me.
Right.
I want you to leave from this encounter and have you scratching your head and making you wonder if maybe you should take another step in your life of trusting God.
Which I'm pretty sure you did to that cashier, because he said 3 times. I could never, because it's in his
But I didn't even think of that.
Ringing.
I didn't even think of that part till you just said that.
Yeah, it's in his head
I was thinking about the lady. Like God might be trying to like, encourage the lady and do something to her to encourage her faith.
But the cashier is just like...
It could have been messing up the cashier. Like God could have had a 2-for-1 like plan for...
It really be like that though. You see someone else do that and you be like, this person really did that? That's crazy.
Or even the college dudes, like even them hearing me, like it could have impacted them in a crazy way. And wow, I was just thinking one directional. That's crazy.
It's contagious. It's contagious. That generosity, like
generosity is contagious.
It's contagious. Like people,
that's a fact.
See it, they hear it, they feel it. They're like, dang, that's good.
Yeah,
that's good.
But that's how the whole pay it forward. Chain like works, like that we like see in movies or hear, like it's you know, somebody blessed me really dope and like looked out for me. I'm paying it forward. You know,
that's it. That's literally it.
That's fire. That's totally fire. Well, you know, I for one could appreciate one thing you actually mentioned earlier is taking it like one day at a time, you feeling like more and more in this present place where you are, even like getting a little more faith with each occurring event or thing happening in your life. One like huge one that, you know, you had mentioned to me a while back. And the funny thing is, aside from you actually telling me, like, you wouldn't even know, like,
you wouldn't know.
And that's really, really, really crazy to like, I think to like a lot of people who are on the outside looking in, because we always put ourselves in that position and go like that.
I could never, yo. I don't know how that person does.
Yeah. But I think that's the strength that builds up with just more and more, just one day at a time, trusting God got it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yes, he had yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
Today is no different. He done had the last 20-something years of my life, 30-something years, however old you are, he's had you all of that time. Why is today different? Today is not going to be no different. The only thing that changes from day to day are the faces, the characters, the moving people. The end result, when I lay my head down today, I got the roof. My ribs not touching. I ate today. I took a deep breath in. I inhaled.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
That's really, really dope to maintain at the forefront of your mind.
Listen, what I'm learning is that through each like test, through each trial, it's like it really strengthens your faith. Like through like every hard time when you make it through, like, and throughout the entire time, like you, even if you don't want to, but you just keep on, you know, attending church, you know, praying, whatever it is that you may be doing, like it creates a strength in you. And that's what I think that's what God wants for us, is to have a stronger faith in him, that when chaos seems like it's about to erupt, we stay within our normal realm and be like, you know what? Let me pray about it. Let me figure out how to do this and not lose our mind, not be pulled by our emotions.
That's the piece right there is that no matter how crazy the storm or different the storm or type of storm, windstorm, rainstorm, snowstorm, right? God is still God. Right? Like he, and the crazy thing is, like, we have to be the ones to digest and understand that we only become blindsided from day to day, because we don't know what tomorrow holds. But the one who holds tomorrow, he's not ever blindsided.
Mm-hmm.
So when tomorrow shows up and we got the flat tire, or tomorrow shows up and we got the death in the family phone call, none of those things. It wasn't like God was up above and was like, oh shoot, I ain't have a plan for that. Dang, hold up, wait.
Right.
Gabriel, Michael, like, you know, like it's funny, but it's not funny. Like,
I didn't predict that to happen.
Wait, like, but that's how we really allow ourselves to react, or in our lack of trusting God is we think God is caught off like we're caught off. And it's like he has designed in it, like you mentioned, wants it to grow us and strengthen us each and every time with every occurrence. And hopefully it becomes that thing too where we mentioned earlier, it's something that you're looking for. Like when I'm experiencing the minuscule things, just like that, flat tire or something, like I've been so over the years like hardwired now to like instantly start looking for God. Because for me, there's meaning and purpose. There's a point to everything happening day to day. Like, why is this happening right now? Like, do I just need to like just sit for a minute and just chill. Like maybe I was going like 100 miles an hour. Like I just needed to just relax, double back, regroup. Okay. Maybe today was like a stay at home day. Maybe I needed just to stay at home, chill with the wife. I didn't need to go run to the office today. You know what I mean? And every time I've had that mindset, something reveals itself later in that day. Does it reveal itself or do I discover it? Because I was looking for God. But I discover something in the day that was edifying for my spirit.
Interesting.
To grow. Because I was looking for it. And for a God, I believe, for a God who's so anxious and ready to give and reveal so much of himself to us every day, every second of every day, is however much your stomach can hold of him, he's willing to give it to you. Oh, you got room for more? Oh, you got room for seconds? Oh, you got more. There's so much more of me. That's what I feel like in my spirit. God is saying, like, there's so much more. Like, you just scratching the surface. There's so much more of me, but you have to make room for me. Like, you have to be able to take this next spoonful. And when you feel like you've had enough, or that, you got to wait and digest what you've had for like the last 5 years, work with that. Okay, I'll move at your pace. I'm a gentleman. We'll do that, right?
He'll meet you where you are.
Excellently said.
So, where you are.
Free lunch, we like to finish each episode with having something like lunch, edifying for the soul. So our tagline is free food for the soul.
Got it.
Okay.
That's why I ain't got no steak in front of me. It's all good.
This guy. So we like to have our guests kind of think over the episode and what we share, what came out, what was discussed, and leave the people with something that they would like the people to leave with that's edifying for their soul. Like, what's the takeaway you would want anybody listening to this episode in the future? What's the takeaway for them, you feel? Or what has been the takeaway for you as you reflect?
As I reflect, be fruitful. Be fruitful. Be fruitful. I'll say be fruitful in the sense that display the fruits of the Spirit.
Yeah.
Regardless of your situation of whatever it is that you may be going through.
Wow. I like that. Be fruitful.
Be fruitful. I think it's
because when most people hear that, they think you're talking about like multiply, right? Be fruitful and multiply.
No.
But like be fruitful, like actually exist.
Yeah.
Exist as the fruits of the Spirit. Like live that. Do your best to be that.
Exactly.
Every day.
Exactly.
Be fruitful. Dang, that's a bar, bro. It sounds like a one line like on a hoodie, a shirt or something. Just be fruitful.
Listen, I'm about to get a hoodie made
soon.
That's it. Be fruitful.
Be fruitful. Two words.
Fruitful is going to be in different colors like Fruity Pebbles.
It's a conversation starter right there.
Yeah.
Because now I'm like, what are you talking about?
You got to go for episode 2.
Yo, fire. Be fruitful, y'all.
Be fruitful.
You heard it first from my man, Q. He said his friends, call him Marquel.
You can call me Q. You can call me Quizzy. You can call me Marquel.
I hope we can continue the dialoguing off the air, and I could actually, be considered a decent enough friend, actually, instead of just this like distant neighbor. But God is even challenging me in this season to be just that, more bold and intentional with the relationships he's surrounded me with.
Word.
That we seemingly just walk past by every day and not knowing that, you know what, that those 5 years where you had that person, I had bigger plans for that encounter. And so that's what made me get the bus stop dad in here. And it's just like taking every day of my life and thinking about every day intentionally, like what's happening around me, taking a moment to not be so fast in this fast-paced society we live in, to just stop and take advantage of the interactions, the opportunities, the people.
That's facts.
You're fearfully and wonderfully made.
Thank you.
You are. That should be motivation enough for me and all of us as we look at one another to go, I want to know more about this amazing creature right here.
That's a bar too.
Yo, so it's your boy Q, your boy the real Free. It's free lunch.
We out here.
Free food for your soul, y'all. Peace.
Peace.